What do you think about it?
I think that it's already illegal here, so I don't see the point in standing out here.
Well, sadly, even though it is already illegal, like at a freestanding abortion, they shut all those down. It isn't actually a criminal act to like order a pill, kill your baby in your own house.
I mean, I completely get that, but it still is really hard, and like I personally would not be able to have an abortion in this state, and would have to travel other places to do that.
Well, but what if it truly is a wrong thing? Because I think that the government, if they were really going to do their job and protect human beings who are being harmed, they would say, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to even travel out of state, which I don't know how they'd enforce that. But I think if they would tell people,
it's impossible to enforce it unless it were to become federally illegal in every single
which
state.
Which I would advocate. But you don't agree with that?
I don't. I mean, I'm open and willing to hear other opinions. I don't personally agree with you, and I'm not going to sit here and yell at you.
Yes.
I just want to know why you're standing out here when it's already illegal in this state. Like,
because legal, illegal, all that kind of thing. The fact of the matter is, there's still a lot of people who will abort their children.
Yeah, I had an abortion about a year ago.
And so if I can say to someone who's had an abortion, it's like, listen.
I'm going to tell you right now, I regret having an abortion, not because I think abortion is wrong, but because I wasn't in the position to have a child. But
why do you regret it?
I had a baby father who was physically abusive to me, and if I had that kid, I would be tied to that person for the rest of my life.
But technically, you wouldn't be. You can always leave a deadbeat dad.
He didn't want to be a deadbeat dad, but he was abusive to me, and I would have had to be tied to him for the rest of my life if I had that kid.
Well,
so do you think what I did was wrong to protect my own self and that kid? I didn't want to bring my child into this world to be in an abusive relationship. So do you agree with my decision?
The abusing of the child part of it? No. From what you're saying, it sounds like you valued yourself.
I valued myself
entirely,
and my kid. I didn't want to have a child.
Well, you didn't value
in an abusive household.
Do you say you valued the life of your child?
I did.
So you,
I absolutely did.
Killing the baby?
Yeah, and I think about it every single day. I really, truly
do.
But I'm not going to bring my kid into a home where I'm being abused every single fucking day, only to have my kid.
Are you still in that home?
I'm not anymore. But
so why not
because I'm not connected to that man anymore.
Why not get away? Why not get away from him and have the child?
Because that man has legal rights to his kid, and guess what? I would have been probably still in court battles to this day.
He wouldn't be. If he's abusive, he would not have any. I'm saying you can always answer evil with good, and the regretting it every day is because there's like a part of you that kind of knows, hey, like that's not the answer to that situation. I'm not going to like be mean to you about the situation.
I understand.
But it is like.
I'm not going to sit here and try and change your opinion because you're entitled to your opinion every single day.
Yeah. Well, I'd try. It's okay if you want to change my opinion.
I don't, because it's not my job to change anybody's opinion.
Well, I would try to change people's opinions if their opinions were leading to the murder of my neighbors. So like, say because you've had one abortion and we've talked and you find yourself in whatever kind of situation, everyone wants to justify their abortions with a million different things. I'm saying, listen, I'm not talking about the tough situation that led to the abortion, but can we stop trying to like fix evil situations by doing an evil thing to our child and then calling it good? It's easy. Just get rid of the child. It would have been.
It wasn't easy though.
I know, but it would have been
harder.
harder.
Nobody that goes through an abortion is saying it's easy. It's the hardest thing ever. I had my child fall out of me onto the floor of my bedroom, and I have to walk in that bedroom every single day. That fucking sucked, but I do believe I made the right decision.
But you know, I'm a stranger, so I just tell you that is a super traumatic thing to go into that bedroom, but it is something that you chose.
I did choose it, and I believe I made the right decision.
So, but then why is it something you regret?
I regret it because I don't regret it. I think about it. I think about what my life could be if I had this kid.
Yeah.
And I believe that my life turned out better because I didn't have the kid. I feel like if I had this kid, I would still be in an abusive relationship. I would still be with this abusive man, and not only would I be getting abused, so would my kid.
Well,
because that's the man that he is.
I mean, I'm not you, I'm not in your shoes, but I would challenge the idea that you couldn't get away from him.
I was on birth control and I was practicing safe sex, and the accident still happened. I did everything in my power to prevent it from happening, and it still happened.
I know you didn't want it to happen, but when it happened,
I don't make enough money to support a child either.
So you don't have it? You don't have any children?
I don't have any children, no.
Because like I don't really make enough money. I have 4 kids. I don't really make enough money for them.
Do you feel this stress?
But I don't think I could kill them. I feel stressed. I got, you know, there's not a lot of money in my pocket. But I don't feel, say I got really, really poor.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, my kids are eating too much ramen noodles or something. If I killed one of them, the money would go further. I just don't think that's the way to deal with things like being poor. So I'm not abusive to my wife, but my wife isn't like gonna kill one of the children to protect, because killing a child is like the most final abuse that you can do to them. Now, I think your child, I don't think that they're going to be judged for your sins or his sins. I think they're with Christ. I think they're with Christ. Are you a Christian? Or?
I am. I have a cross around my neck. I believe in God. I believe
sometimes I don't take for crosses around. I don't.
Yeah.
But
I go to church. I grew up in a Catholic family, and you know, my family doesn't agree with my decision. They are upset about it, but they witnessed what I went through. My family is so anti-abortion, yet they still were able to see the situation that I was in, and they were able to say, you made the right decision.
Well, so I'm not in your family. I'm not a member of your church. I'm not a Catholic. But
if you saw me walking across the street, you would never know what I've been through.
No, I know what you've been through because you're telling.
Impacting people or how they're making people feel.
But hopefully,
I'm just saying abortion is already illegal in this state, so I don't see the point in spending your entire day standing on this corner.
Well, it won't be the entire day.
Trying to convince people that it's wrong.
Well, so here's the deal. Say the only reason that we did this whole thing was so I could talk to you, and I could say, listen, you claim to be a Christian, you claim to understand it's not the best thing, you kind of regret it, but what if I said it really was an evil, murderous sin, but if you can agree with God, yes, I answered evil with evil. I did something that I should not have done.
I don't believe I committed a sin at all whatsoever.
But see, if you don't believe you committed a sin, then you still have that. You've not given that to God to forgive because you don't believe it needs to be forgiven. So if I stand out here and the only thing I get to do is tell one person, you, this is sin, you will stand before God. And whenever he says, children were a blessing, they're a gift, I knit that child together. Even though you were on birth control, even though you didn't want it, I knit that child. And while I was making that child in your womb, because you didn't want to love them enough to protect them from this abusive man and your stuff and do the hard thing, you killed them. And you stand here and I see that sin on you because you haven't put that sin on Christ.
Do you think I'm walking around with this sin on me?
Well, I think everyone is walking around either. I'm talking about when we stand.
Sins, just because
right, everyone's sinned and fallen short.
To make the best decision I could for myself in the moment.
Yeah.
Doesn't make me different from anybody else. It doesn't make me different from you at all.
I agree. No, I agree. For all I know, I've sinned more than you quantitatively. You know, I'm older than you, so probably have, right?
Probably.
But I'm saying all have sinned, all fallen short, and all will die, and all will stand before God.
Absolutely.
And God will either look at you and see you in your sin that you said was good, or look at you and see you in your, know that you're someone who sinned and said, I'm not good. I'm not trusting in my goodness. I'm trusting in Christ. I put my sin on the cross. And so he looks at you. But if you don't agree with him that you need to be forgiven,
I don't think I need to be forgiven. But that doesn't question my faith. That doesn't question my religion. Well, I don't believe I need to be forgiven.
Yeah, I'm not a part of religion. I don't know the mechanics of how it works. But what I think is just very abundantly clear from the Bible is that Christ forgives sinners. And those who come to Christ and say, I am a sinner, he will not turn away.
I'm not a sinner, but I've forgiven myself. And in turn, I don't feel that I'm walking around with a sin on me.
Well,
I don't feel
you can't
that there's
really forgive yourself,
wrong with
right?
the decision that I made. I can absolutely forgive myself.
I mean,
I don't walk around
and
dwell on the fact that I decided to have an abortion.
Well, in the sense of like, you're not going to stand before yourself at judgment and be able to forgive yourself.
I'm sitting here speaking out loud my truth. That in turn is me forgiving myself. I'm getting it off of my chest. I'm speaking it out into the world. I have done this. I don't feel wrong about it. I don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
A side note,
that's all anybody needs.
A side note, because I appreciate that you're able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Some people just walk by and yell, you know.
I'm not going to sit here and yell at you. Like, every opinion matters, and I'm going to listen to your opinion.
But just because you're willing, so you don't think that like you were a victim of abuse, but in your choosing to abort the child, you didn't do that because you were a victim? Like, you think you chose the abortion?
I did choose the abortion.
Like, no one chose the abortion for you?
Nobody chose it for me, no.
Yeah, you looked at your situation and chose the abortion.
I make every decision.
Yeah.
Now, certain situations have an effect on every decision. That goes in every situation in your entire life.
I agree.
There's factors, there's variables.
I agree.
Like, I could have had the child, but I looked at all sides of my situation.
Yeah.
And I said, given what I have been through / going through.
Yeah, and could go through, kind of predicting it.
Could go through. Like, so, I felt in my own head that I'm protecting not only myself, but I'm protecting an innocent life. Yes, I did kill that kid. They were innocent and I did kill them. I'll admit that, but I don't think it was wrong.
Okay, because of the situation. So just for you to think about, I just want to ask, say there was a mom and a dad and they had a baby. The baby was 6 months old or something like that. The dad started abusing the mom. The mom felt really she didn't want the baby to be abused. He hadn't done anything to the 6 month, but she kind of thought he might hit this kid whenever they're 13 or 3 or something like that. And she decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kill him. I'm going to take the 6 month in the backyard and just bury him so he suffocates in the dirt. Do you think she's justified in doing that? Because that, your entire argument for why you're justified would justify killing a 6 month old.
I see where you're coming from, absolutely. I think that I had a
and people
choice.
Do that.
That certain woman did not have that choice. And
what's the choice to kill the child?
If she killed her kid at 6 months old, I would send her to jail. And that's manslaughter. But
well, it wouldn't be manslaughter, it would be malice, forethought, homicide.
The difference is what I did was legal.
Well, but you said it's not legal now. So
not
now
here, no, but I didn't have my abortion here in Oklahoma. I had to travel out of state to go do it.
Was this pretty recent, or?
It was a year ago.
Yeah. Why'd you have to travel out of state?
It was of 2022, so it was right after Roe vs. Wade got overturned, and Kevin Stitt decided to make...
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, I'm not like a pro-lifer. I don't think that all that, I don't think Dobbs repealing Roe v. Wade has stopped anyone from having an abortion.
It has.
Obviously,
it didn't
didn't stop you.
No, it did not stop me. It made it harder for me.
Yeah, but if you're wanting to terminate a child, I mean, what's driving 6 hours or whatever?
Exactly.
Or 2, I guess, to Wichita.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, you're pretty incredible that you're talking about it, and I don't think I'm going to change your whole thing.
No, there's no way. I don't think I'm going to change your
mind
but
see, I'm going to remember this. I'm actually going to pray for you, and I'm just going to, think about it. Like, whether you feel like regret or not, the fact that you can stand here and say, I killed my child, and that your truth or all that stuff you're talking about, like, you will stand before God. And you're going to disagree with him when he says, you killed your child, but I sent my son to die on a cross to forgive people for even that. And you didn't want me to forgive you for that. You held on to that. So it's like, I may not change your mind here, but maybe in 2 years or 2 days or whatever, you look at it and you're like, no, I murdered my baby.
Yeah.
Stop believing I'm just being honest with you. I think it's a lie that you couldn't have gotten away from him, because obviously you're away from him now. He didn't even need to know. Did he know that you had conceived a baby?
Yeah.
Did he say, go abort it?
No, he said, if you abort this kid, I'm going to kill you and the kid.
So obviously he didn't kill you. So he said he was going to kill you if you abort the baby.
Well, at that point, I had to get a restraining order on him.
Yeah. So like, what's wrong with the idea of getting the restraining order on him and fleeing from him to protect your child?
Because it's terrifying. Put yourself in my shoes. Is that not
Yeah.
terrifying? Somebody's threatening to kill you.
Yeah. No, I've been in terrifying situations, but not that situation.
That's him trying to control me. That's him trying to tie me down.
Yeah.
He told me, he said, you better have this kid because that's the one thing you won't be able to take from me.
Oh, you're saying he wanted, a second ago when you said it, you said that you better abort this baby. So he wanted...
No, he said if you do abort this baby, I'm going to kill you like you killed our child.
Yeah, and so he didn't.
But he used the child that I was going to have as a way to control me.
So can I say something a little intense, just warn you? So he said, if you don't abort this baby, or if you abort this baby, I'll kill you. And you didn't have the baby because you were worried about the baby being abused. So you didn't want him to hurt the child. So you hurt the child.
I didn't want him to hurt me or the kid. Because if there's somebody that's willing to kill you, what's saying they're not willing to kill the kid too?
But the reason this is intense is because...
Obviously he's not scared of killing somebody.
Well, I don't know. He sounds like a bad guy. I don't know. Right. He sounds like a bad guy. You're telling me he would have hurt your baby. But you're telling me that you hurt your baby.
I did, yeah.
Like in that you have to walk into the room.
In a way to save myself.
Yeah, you hurt your baby to save yourself. So like, I don't know how bad this guy is, but I do know that you did a bad thing.
I don't think I did a bad thing.
Well, you think that when you walk into the room where you, like, I don't know how old your baby was. Did you take a misoprostol and mifepristone and then come home and then the baby in your room or whatever? So that's something you chose to do to your child because you didn't want somebody else to abuse your child. So you abused your child to death. And it seems like you're blaming everybody else. And I'm a stranger. I'm not trying to be mean, but
I mean, I'm not
like
blaming anybody because I sat here and I admitted it to you.
Yeah, but
and I admitted I'm not blaming myself. I'm blaming the situation.
But you think so? If the situation's bad, you can kill an innocent person.
The situation was.
But your words are they were innocent and you killed them.
You would never be able to understand because you would never be able to put yourself in my situation because. Not
your exact situation.
No.
But I can hear your situation. I can understand it, and I'm just.
You can try to understand.
I'm understanding what you're saying. Yeah. Like I can't feel it, but I can say, listen, as someone who's not going to be in that exact situation, I don't ever think that evil is the answer to evil. Like. Say I was scared that someone was going to possibly abuse one of my kids, and to protect my kids from that abuse, I abused them to death.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit different. In your mind, it's not going to seem different because of your opinions. In my mind, it was different.
Well, but the reason that your child came out and was on the floor of your room, the cause of that, who. Like you were saying, like, who was the main cause? Like, who was the person who made that happen?
It was me, 100,000%. I did that. No, it was nobody's decision but my own. I'm sitting here telling you I've done that.
Yeah.
And
all I can do is say that, listen, I see that you're saying you're okay with it, but I'm willing as a stranger to tell you it was a great evil thing. But the good news is that God forgives people for doing great evil things.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to say, I agree with you, this is a great evil thing, forgive me, I think you own that great evil thing.
You know what I find kind of interesting? I'm sorry.
Yep.
All three of you all are men.
It
was just an observation.
See, we're actually on rotation. See the lady over there?
Yeah.
She's with us. Rachel, she's on the phone, she's with us. He took over for her. So, but it's an interesting observation. Are you saying that like we have to have a uterus or something to stand up for preborn humans?
You would never be in the situation of having a kid. like inside of your body.
This is true. And, I mean, I don't think
So
men.
you would never
I don't think
feel
men can
the
just claim to be women and
emotions.
have babies inside of them or anything like that. So I agree with you.
You would never be able to understand the feelings that go along with
But-
it, especially not being in a situation.
Yeah, but I can oppose all sorts of things that I may not be able, like I could oppose, like I'd like to think, I'm pretty sure, believing what I believe, that early 19th century, like I could say, hey, plantation owner, you can't own these people, you can't rape these women, you can't work them to death in the fields. And a lot of the plantation owners at that time said, listen, you don't know what it's like. For me to run this, cotton empire, I've got to have these laborers. And you just don't know what it's like to be in my shoes here in the deep South. And they were mad at the abolitionists for like saying from the North, slavery is a sin, it's an abomination, we must repent, chattel slavery. And if they were to say, you really can't relate to me, you don't own slaves, you don't know what it's like, they could still say, you're right, I don't know what it's like, but I do know it's wrong to, so we had one baby come out, a couple weeks early, and I actually delivered my son at the house. So I also walk into a room, I don't think about it daily, but there's a place where I delivered my son. And, I didn't carry the baby, but say I were to look at my son and say, man, I don't really want a boy, I want a girl. And I were to kill him, right? You could say, that's wrong. And I could say, well, you don't know what it's like to be a father who doesn't make a lot of money, who's having another baby, and you just don't know what it's like. But you can say, I don't need to know what it's like. Yeah. It's wrong to kill a baby in your living room or kill a baby in your room. I can say straight up, yeah, no, I don't know all of the pain and suffering and temptation and all that kind of stuff, but I can say objectively, little human beings made in the image of God that are being knit together by God in their mother's wombs can't advocate for themselves. And I can advocate for them to whatever degree I'm able. And that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people in our culture who just don't seem to value them.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're a bit different.
To me. I have to go to work.
Yeah. Did I give you some lit? You can just
a little bit, something to think about.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you having a conversation.
Did I give this one to you?
No.
Yeah. If you ever, I don't know. It's cool if you want to continue it, but if you don't, that's our website. Just know who we are.
Okay.
We are Christians. We do this. We're not trying to make people feel bad, but we do know that doing this will make some people feel bad.
Yeah.
And make people reflect on it, and hopefully, I will pray for you. I will pray, and I pray that you come into agreement with God that you did an evil thing.
Yeah.
But then also agreement with God that, when you see Jesus on the cross being separated from God in death and all, you're like, what in the world why did he have to do that?
Yeah.
Well, because all of our sins are going to either be judged on the cross with Christ, or they're going to be judged in hell.
Yeah.
We can't, you either own your sin or Christ owns it. And he's very willing to forgive any sin, even the sin of abortion. So.
Last thing I'll say as people who can relate on some level, just don't be aggressive towards people.
Oh yeah, I'm not. I know there are some people who are aggressive.
Yeah. I appreciate you having a conversation with me.
Yeah, and I'm thankful that you are not aggressive. Usually post-abortive, I have friends who are post-abortive that are Christians, they've given it to God, so they don't regret it. They regret it, but it's not a weight on their shoulders, it's been lifted. But there are lots of people, it's not just women, men who've told people, told their partners, go get an abortion. They'll walk by, they'll see this, and they will yell at us a lot.
Yeah.
And I know there are people on our side, anti-abortion, broadly speaking, but we're just out here basically saying, hey, can we get you to think about this thing? For 50 years in our culture, it's been kind of allowed. And so people are numb to it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to, that's why, even in a state where it's illegal.
Yeah.
Because it's illegal, but people are still, like you, driving to get them. We're like in the top 5 states of like ordering the pills that you drove to, you know, just get online, order them, take them.
Yeah.
And so I just think if I believe that it's sin and murder and that Christ forgives sinners who've murdered their children, all I'm trying to do is tell it. So, you know, I thank God that you stopped and listened.